creator.
Hello, how's it going?
Hi, everyone.
Did you guys say your names so they can...
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Michael Cusack. I'm the creator and the voice of Koala Man.
I'm Dan Hernandez. I'm the co-showrunner, and I developed the show along with Michael and Benji.
Yeah. I'm Benji Samit, co-showrunner, developer,
All-around cool guy.
all-around cool guy.
Why Koala Man? And where did this come from?
So I have been animating for a while, since I was early 20s. I just learned myself, and I love kind of doing little shorts about where I grew up, and they seem to do well on the internet. And I got into superheroes when I was like 20, like 25 or something. And I was like, oh, what would an Australian superhero be like? And I thought they'd definitely have no superpowers. They wouldn't be cool or interesting. And they'd be kind of schlubby and be in a town that is not cool, like not a cool Gotham. So being like a superhero in a small suburban town seemed funny to me, and especially because it is what I realized. It's a thing in America too. Like people are very with boomers, like people like. My dad and his friends were always like so particular about people littering on the street and like the bins, the trash going out at a certain time and all that kind of stuff. So this superhero cares about like that kind of stuff, like making sure lawns are mowed properly, like the proper stuff that the council wants is done properly. So that was just funny to me, and then it just seemed naturally to work into an animated sitcom.
Yeah, so those little things are the things that caused him to become a superhero, but then of course, being a big fun show, things spiral out of control, and we've got monsters and aliens and anything else that we can think about, but the stories often just start with he's really just focused on the mundane little thing, and the bigger threat is
It always seems to spiral out of that one little thing that he is hyper-focused on, and then all of a sudden he's fighting a monster or a demon or something insane, and that seems to be the formula that works for the show, and so we've really leaned into that combination of the very elevated and the very low-stakes, banal, sort of like suburban life.
Kevin is someone that we care about and we connect with. He's not like a Karen who's just doing...
He's not a Karen, no. He on the surface level, he is annoying, but he's so passionate in what he believes in that you can't fault him for it. He just wants to live in a clean, nice town and a clean, nice suburb. So it's you can't really fault him, but he's a bit arrogant about it, a bit stubborn. So he's not,
but it
he's
all
not
comes from a place of love. He loves his family, he loves his town, and he just wants the best for it. Yeah. And he doesn't understand why everybody doesn't love the town the way he does.
Yeah, it's almost like he's like, look, if no one else is going to do something about this, I am. I'm going to be the savior of the town.
And he's often not rewarded for that sort of, dedication to those.
Most heroes never are.
No,
yes,
most
exactly.
heroes never
Isn't
are.
it a shame?
But and you learn more about him as the series goes on because it is serialized. There is a real superhero story that's getting told along with all this funny, crazy stuff. So I think that by the end of the season, I hope that people are almost surprised by how moved they are by his story and by the emotions that you're feeling by the end. And it's like, oh, this is a real superhero story, and there are real stakes, and it started so small, and now we're somewhere else completely, and it's been an exciting journey to craft.
Yes.
Do we always expect him to be like a lone wolf, or is he gonna get a pack at some point?
Yeah, no, he does have.
He has allies.
He has allies, who are just the people that he goes to the local bolo, which is like a bar in America, and he's got his best mates there that support him and even make gadgets for him too. So he's definitely got his supporters.
He's got a handful of friends.
Yeah.
That also believe in the cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, his family is often incredibly frustrated by his sort of commitment to this until they need him.
Yeah.
And then every now and then it's like, well, who actually would help me solve the problem that I'm having is Koala Man, I hate to say it. And so now he's getting drawn in on some of these other stories that the family is having trouble dealing with, and so there are also episodes where he'll team up with his wife or he'll team up with his daughter to go and accomplish something, and it's both the dynamic of the superhero persona, but also it's their annoying dad. So it's always something that we come back to over and over because we tried to find also the truth in the family relationships as much as possible, and sort of the universal experiences of having annoying dads and sort of moms who maybe feel stuck in their lives a little bit and things like that. So there's always like a true emotion underlying sort of the events of the stories and where the stories start and where they end.
So is the family aware of his dual life, or are they?
Yeah, yes. Which was it took us a while to kind of choose.
It was a
way to do.
It was a later development,
Yeah,
for sure.
But they do know, and they're embarrassed about it. It's a very complicated. It's almost like he's going through a midlife crisis, and they're just kind of going. They're just accepting it. Although his son loves it. He's just like in awe of him. His dad being a superhero.
His son loves it. His daughter's like, if any of my friends at school find out that you're Koala Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So, yeah.
So there's different levels to their relationship to Koala Man, and sort of discovering that his family should know his identity really unlocked a lot for us because it made the home life so much richer of his wife, who still expects him to fix the broken table and do sort of household chores, but also trying to be accepting of, okay, Kevin's going through something right now. It happens to be a koala phase.
Right.
Let's see if
she
it
has
comes
to
out of it.
accept him being like, all right, I'm going to be out all night patrolling the streets.
When in fact the streets are probably fine.
Yeah.
But every now and then there's a monster, and
Right.
so it's that tension, I think, that makes it really funny.
I understand Hugh Jackman is on the show. How did that happen? What was that experience?
We don't know.
We actually don't know. We
That
tricked him.
It was insanely easy, like way easier than we thought. So we shot for the stars and wanting to get him. We wrote a character specifically for him, hoping would get him. And to our luck, he was interested in the show because I guess his kids thought it was funny, which we'll thank you, Hugh Jackman's kids. And I guess, because it was an Australian show for American TV, I think it really piqued his interest too. So he knew about Dapto, the small town it's set in. He's like, oh yeah, I know Dapto. Like, you're making a show about Dapto?
He was just so excited. I mean, he was honestly the easiest yes we got of our entire cast. Right? He was just like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, really?
Super nice guy.
And he couldn't have been nicer and more supportive of the show.
And his performance is so funny.
he's
I can't wait
hilarious.
for you guys to see. Like,
He killed it.
yeah.
Can you say anything about his character?
Yeah, he's like the stereotypical like Australian man's man. He's everything Koala Man wishes he could be. He's like he's 6 inches taller than him. He's buffer. He's cool. Everyone in town loves him.
His name is Big Greg.
Yeah.
And Big Greg used to host Australia's third most popular fishing show, Fishin' Big with Big Greg.
Yes.
And
Now he's become the mayor.
now he's the mayor of the town, basically, and in Koala Man's heart, he's jealous and envious of how other people see Big Greg, but he can't quite admit that to himself, and so they have this tension throughout the series of really probably Big Greg saying something nice to Koala Man would be very meaningful to him, but he could never admit that, and so they have this sort of rivalry or frenemy.
Yeah, and Big Greg isn't a bad guy. He just like Koala Man just like kind of is so jealous of him. He sees him as a bad guy. But he's just perfect. Like, Big Greg's a perfect.
It would
person.
almost be easier if he were secretly a villain,
right.
but he's seemingly just the greatest guy in town who everybody loves.
Which
And-
Hugh Jackman obviously plays that perfectly.
Are you going to give him a musical number?
Oh yes,
There
We weren't going to cast Hugh Jackman and not.
we
give him something.
did find an occasion for Big Greg to sing, and hopefully people will be seeing that soon. But it was a very exciting day in the recording booth.
It's insane. It was so good.
It was pretty awesome.
He was like going to do his musical too after it, and it was so insane. He was doing that and then going to do Music Man.
He was
the whole way.
extremely generous with his time and his support of the show, and he gave it his all. And we wrote him some crazy lines to say that almost to the point where you're like, okay, this is the line where Hugh's gonna be like, I've made a mistake. I don't want to be associated with this. And he was totally game, and he and Michael became really like just had a connection right away, and
It's very nice.
it was a really a dream experience with him. He was amazing.
Yeah.
This next question's gonna be last.
Are we allowed to Okay, can you talk about the other cast that's going to be announced in the panel?
I don't even.
I think we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So
you guys will.
I'll
screw it up.
I'll handle this.
Yeah, I'll screw it up.
Yes. So in a minute, we're going to announce that there's a really brilliant Australian comedian named Demi Lardner who is Koala Man's daughter, Allison. She's absolutely astoundingly funny. One of the funniest performances I've ever heard on an animated show. And Koala Man's wife is played by Sarah Snook of Succession and Shiv Roy. She is absolutely unbelievably funny. I think not everyone knows that she's Australian, I think, and this is an opportunity, and I think she similarly was super excited to do an Australian show. She's obviously, she's Emmy nominated. She's she's doing pretty good. She's doing pretty well, but she really loved the show, and you and Sarah connected, and just, again, someone that just wanted to be a part of it, and it was like a pretty easy yes, and in spite of the fact that she's, on top of the world right now, she just loved the show. So we're very excited to
An all-star Australian.
And there's some other people that we will be announcing later.
There's more we can't announce today, but it's
seeking out other secret Australians.
Yes.
Secret Australia.
It's the cast is a who's who.
It's a bit of a who's who of
Australia.
Australian actors, and some really surprising and amazing people, not necessarily known for their comedy in some cases, because huge actors in Australia, and we're really excited to continue to unveil that. But at the panel, we will be announcing Demi and Sarah, so we're excited about that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cheers.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
You guys ready to do a photo back there?
Yeah. Okay, that was the last, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Singles.
Singles first.
Okay. All right, fit check. Fit check.